and Healing Awards Banquet is returning for its second annual event. And this year, they're honoring a person that is very close to our hearts here at ABC4, Marcos Ortiz. Marcos was an incredible journalist who dedicated his life to bringing awareness to missing people and shining a light on unsolved crimes with his series, The Justice Files. He passed away almost a year ago from a sudden heart attack, but his legacy will live on much longer than that. So we have Merrill here. He's the executive director and attorney for the Utah Homicide Survivors. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about what your organization does.
Yeah, so we started 4 years ago as primarily a nonprofit law firm, but we also offer therapy, group therapy, and social services as well to families of murder victims.
Wow, I can't imagine the work that you guys have done. I know Marcos worked with you as well. Tell us a little bit more about what those services entail.
So a lot of our cases, it's mostly domestic violence homicides. And so this is where there could be children that are surviving that now have lost both parents, but also really complicated when it comes to assets and other things that were shared between the either husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever, family members. And so we really are there to make sure that the innocent victims get all of the property, all the assets, and we stop the killer from profiting from murder.
Does that happen often, seeing the killer profit off of this?
It can, but all of that is taken care of in the civil courts and not the criminal courts. And so that's why we are kind of a specialized ultra niche area of law.
And obviously most of us are fortunate enough that we don't have to go through this process. What do you think the average person doesn't realize that these families have to go through in the healing process?
So it's a long time. I mean, lots of news stories happen when there is a murder, especially domestic violence homicide. And so we get that flash in the pan story, maybe an update or two as the case goes on, but you don't realize that these cases can often take multiple years. And so it's really a community that they need to be able to heal and recover from that. And a lot of that is really financially being able to raise, the kids that have survived, that have now lost both of their parents. But also it's a long process to go through because they'll have the civil cases and the criminal cases all going on at once. And so it can be really overwhelming.
There's so many facets that I think we don't even realize. And most of us, again, are fortunate enough that we haven't had to go through that. I know your organization had a really special place in Marcos' heart. What do you remember most about him?
So Marcos was the first news organization that called us to ask if we had any stories we wanted to highlight, and we did. And really, that first one just kind of solidified for me, this is a person that cares, because behind the scenes, the story that didn't show was him taking the time to talk to this family and even working to get things done that weren't published, helping a family get remains, things like that, that wasn't part of his news story. He just felt for them and wanted them to be able to have bury their daughter and lay her to rest finally. And that was something that wasn't shown in that news story, but it showed to me that he truly cared about these families.
Yeah, he really did. Can you tell us a little bit about this award that you guys have created in honor of him?
Yeah, so every year, but this is the second year for our Hope, Justice, and Healings Award banquet. This is the third year that we've kind of done this in a banquet type fashion, or second year we've done it banquet type fashion, but third year overall. We usually just had 3 awards, Hope, Justice, Healing. And this year we realized, there's so many more people than the people we were recognizing. It was a legislator and then somebody within the criminal justice process and then a company or business. And we realized, within that criminal justice process, there's victim advocates, there's detectives. And then just kind of thinking more, we realized, there's journalists that are helping us and helping these families find us, because often when we come out and do a story like this, we'll get calls from cases that we didn't even know existed. And so really what it came down to is we want to recognize journalism that is trauma-informed, that is helping these families heal, and that really was Marcos. And so we connected with his wife, and with her blessing, this award will in the future be named the Marcos Ortiz Healing Through Journalism Award. And he will be the first one to receive it posthumously, and his wife will be there to accept it.
All right, Merrill, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for helping Marcos' legacy live on.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, before we go, we want to show you where you can find more information about this banquet. So we're going to put up a graphic any second now. For the banquet, you'll go to hopejusticehealing.com. And if you need help, maybe you're struggling or you have someone else who is going through surviving a homicide and needs legal assistance, you can go to UtahHomicideSurvivors.org. It looks like our graphic is not working right now, but we will have that on our website. That's ABC4.com.